Welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, welcome to episode 45 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Risley, and today I talk to the lovely Tenayah McLeod. Tenayah is a 20-year-old videographer and social media manager currently running her own business, McLeod Media. Her clients, which are multiple, currently compete in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Today we're going to discuss things about social media, videography, and her pretty cool story of how she got into her current role. Hi, Tenayah, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
I know every week I said I'm excited, but I'm always very excited to speak to another female within the motorsport professional. So how did you get started within motorsport?
Well, so I kind of grew up on the motorsport side of things, not really car racing though. So I grew up racing motocross. So I did that, started that when I was 4. Don't really remember why. My brother did it, so I kind of just fell into it. My parents were like, let's buy her a bike and see if she likes it. And then I did that for pretty much all my childhood, and then got to a point where it was either I follow motocross and try and do that professionally, or, try and do something else. And female in motorsport's harder than a female. Female in motocross is harder than a female in like cars and things like that. So that kind of died when I got to the stage where it was like career or sport or whatever you want to do. But, yeah, I remember growing up watching Bathurst with Dad and things like that. But to be completely honest, I wasn't really interested in cars until like 13 or 14. Like everyone watches Bathurst. Like it's just what you watch.
Yeah. And
then in 2013, my maths teacher took me to the Gold Coast 600. I grew up down near Gold Coast, up near Gold Coast, whatever it was. Took me to the Gold Coast 600, and then she was like a volunteer head kind of fancy person. She did all that sort of stuff, and went there as a school excursion, which was pretty cool when you were 14 going to the Supercars. It was my first event, and got involved in that. The year later, I did Students on Track, did that with the school again, and then I became a volunteer for like Supercars, I guess, and I was like a pit lane official, blew the whistle and things like that. I did that for a few years, and yeah, it kind of kick-started my love for supercars more than just like motorsport as a whole. It was more just supercars, and I fanned out, hit the fangirl stage and really loved the sport and used to follow it religiously, and then I was like, maybe I could turn this into a career. So that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, so you're currently a videographer. Is that what your passion was, or did you just see something that you liked or you didn't like at the track that you thought, hey, I want to pursue that?
So my parents bought me a camera for my 16th birthday. Before then, I had I was always just one of those little like kids that would make a video on their phone or something like that, but I'd never really thought about it. And then I got like a little Canon camera for my 16th birthday, and then flipped it over to video mode instead of photos because it's so much more fun to make videos. And then, I mucked around with that for a few years, and then somehow found myself getting paid to do it, which obviously there's a bit of gap in there to fill in, but, it's kind of cool. I kind of have to pinch myself all the time. I'm just like, this is so cool what I get to do for a living. So
it is cool. And when you say just a few years, it really is only a few years since you
I'm 20 at the minute, so
it's only about 4 years since you've actually picked it up and got
it'll be nearly 5 years. I'm 21 soon, so really not that long. It's actually been quite fast, but I mean, I started when I was 16, and then I'm the kind of person that if I like something, I'll just dedicate every minute of my life to do it. So that's what I've done for the past 4 years. I'm at uni studying film and TV and design and things like that at the minute. So once I finished up with high school, I moved to Melbourne. I was living in a small town of Grafton. That's where I grew up in northern New South Wales, and moved to Melbourne when I was 18, and kind of was now or never sort of thing to give this a real crack. So I did that, and now just trying to balance full-time uni with full-time work pretty much, which is the hardest part. in my final 2 units of uni, so hopefully wrap that up soon, and then I can put all my energy into the one thing rather than trying to split it across multiple things and half-ass some sort of stuff. So
so again, why did you choose videography, or did it basically choose you, like you say, because it was
kind of probably chose me. I didn't really just that one thing. Like when you're 16, I didn't think I was going to be doing this. Like I had no clue, sort of thing. Yeah. Photos, like I'm more passionate about photography now that I do videos than I was when I first started. My mum was always like, you just have such a really good eye, like a creative eye. I could always just take a good photo. Never really thought anything of it. And then the video thing, I just kind of delved into YouTube and taught myself how to do it, not really thinking anything of it, thinking more of a skill and things like that. And then got it to a point where I could do it well enough for people to actually utilise and use. So it's not an easy thing, but it's cool.
And it is fantastic that you do have your own business at 20.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, McLeod Media. So how did the business start and when did it start?
So it kind of just started more as me just mucking around with it more than anything. I just I started making videos of motocross bikes because that was my world when I was 16, 17. Started there, and then I started an Instagram account January 2017. So started an Instagram account and just put these shockingly made videos. Like I look back on them now and I'm like, why did you ever, what were you thinking, sort of thing?
You have
to start somewhere, exactly. But now I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, Tenayah, that is shocking. But everyone starts somewhere, and it's like you got to walk before you run, sort of thing. So that's the way I look at it. And just McLeod Media started as that. I think the first year that I did it, I was in year 11 in high school. And I think I profited about $13 that year. So that was a real big paycheck for me. And then, it's just kind of, I always thought I was going to be a radiographer. Like my year 10 work experience was at the hospital and I was taking x-rays of people. So that was completely different to where I am now, and that's what I thought I was going to do. I would have been happy to do that. And then this kind of just grabbed me and was like, no, come and do this instead. And this is so much more fun, I reckon.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I'm going to agree with you there.
Yeah, of course.
So you're so fortunate that you've found a role within your passion of supercars. How did you take the business from a $13 business to where you're at today, 2 years later on, with the clients that you have?
To be completely honest, I volunteered a lot. Like I offered my services as a creative while I could. So there's a point where you can, and that was me in high school and my first year at uni, where it was, I didn't really care about, the money was irrelevant. I mean, the money still means nothing to me, but in 2019, I have rent to pay.
Yeah.
When I was living at home, I could do whatever I wanted because my parents paid for everything. But I live 18 hours away from my family now in Melbourne, in an apartment in St Kilda, and it's like bills come in whether money comes in or not. So I had to draw a line at some point. In 2017, my first year in Melbourne, I volunteered for Supercars Media as a production runner. So I got to meet everyone in that kind of world, which was my first sort of into that world professionally, sort of thing. I used to pay for myself and accommodate myself at like 6 rounds a year. So I think I did Winton, Ipswich, Bathurst, Gold Coast and Newcastle in 2017. Flew myself to all these events like didn't get anything. So that was pretty cool, and worked as hard as anyone who was on a full-time payroll for Supercars. So I was ironing shirts. I think my first job, I rolled up to Winton and my first job was, they go, here's an iron and you can iron Mark Scaife's shirt to wear on the broadcast. And I was like, crap. So I rang my mum and I was like, Mum, how do I use an iron?
The joys of YouTube, did she say? Get on YouTube.
Yeah, she told me how to do it. She goes, that's your first role. And it was like a proper, like real nice button-up shirt. And I'm like, oh man, I hope I don't screw this up. Like
burn a hole in it.
I don't even think I ironed it properly. I would have had the iron on like the lowest sensitivity because I'm like, if I put a hole in this, like it is not a good way to start with these people. And yeah, did that for 6 rounds. And the best part about that was I got to meet everybody. So just networked with everyone and met all the production assistants, met all the producers. At the TV director, who Nathan Prendergast, he was the director at the time. He's now the head of TV. So he's now the head honcho guy and he's a really cool dude. And it's just knowing people. Like I don't know them personally, but I know them if we walk past each other as like, hey, how you going? Hey, this and that sort of stuff. And you can have a chat and things like that, which is really cool. And yeah, I mean, just from there, and then in 2017, I met Sally from GRM at an event that I volunteered at, and then she slid into my Instagram DMs and was like, hey, do you want a job? And I was like, hey, yeah, I do. And then I was able to go to each event and be at each event every year, and I did my first year, like the 15 rounds in 2018. And then GRM were happy for me to branch out and meet other clients and work for other people. And now, like on a race weekend, I'm flat out. Like I'm fully booked on race weekends pretty much. So, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, just got to be careful I don't bite off more than I can chew sort of thing. So got to make sure that like I don't take on enough clients that it wrecks my quality of work for other people. So I'm pretty cautious about that. But try and do the best job that I can, and everyone's happy so far, which is good.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about a life of a supercar social media manager. Is that what you do, or what's your actual title with JRM?
So my title with JRM is videographer,
yep.
But I call myself a content creator because I do kind of everything. Yep. Videographer is what my role started out to be, and then this year I've taken on their social media. So just another level of things. And yeah, so content creator, so we'll do like a weekend wrap and things like that, which just involves like videos of, well, GRM, whoever our drivers are. Like can't really keep up with who our drivers are at the moment. So usually it's Richie Stenaway and James Golding, but we've had a couple of different drivers this year. So that's my main role on a race weekend. They fly and accommodate me, so they're my main focus. Put the blinkers on for them sometimes, but then they're happy for also me to be able to earn a living by working for other people as well. So I also, this year I took on management of Mark Winterbottom's social media. So actually the Winterbottom things are actually a pretty cool story. I was a huge fan. If you scroll down my Instagram to 2014, you'll find that I described the best day of my life as the day that I met Mark Winterbottom. And now I look back on that and I'm like the other day I was sitting at his house eating pizza and I'm like, not sure how 2014 Tenayah would handle this.
Oh, that's very.
I was sitting in maths one day, maths in high school, and I got a message from Renee Winterbottom, his wife, and she's like, what do you want to try and help us out a little bit? And I was like, hell yeah, this is the best day of my life. And then from there, I've done some video stuff for his corporate clients. So we did a big campaign this year for what's it called? For air clean filters, and filmed all that, and that went out, which was really cool. And yeah, it's kind of just evolved into when Renee had the third child. She kind of got to the point where she was like, yeah, probably can't do everything with 3 kids. And then she was like, well, let's just get Tenayah in on this. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at now, which is pretty cool.
Fantastic. That's a good story. So
it's a really good story. It's quite funny.
What shirt do you have to wear on the weekend?
I wear my own. I'm really lucky that I'm allowed to wear my own branding, which is cool. Like I asked GRM and I was like, do you want me to wear theirs? And they're like, well, you're not employed by us. You're a contractor. So you can wear McLeod Media branding. And I'm like, sweet, free advertising at Supercars events. Not going to say no to that. I'm real passionate about my own brand. So getting that out there where I can is totally awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what are the favourite components of your role?
I love the creativity that I get, apart from, hanging with all these Supercars drivers and stuff. But I love the creativity that I have. I'm really lucky that, so in 2018 when GRM was sponsored by Wilson Security, Wilson didn't really have any interest in the creativity side of things. They didn't have any say in what they wanted. They just wanted videos to use. So I pretty much had full control over the whole creative side of things. And then when Boost come on, they're a youth brand, so they had a little bit more strict guidelines. So it's really forced me to get better sort of thing, to refine my craft to suit a particular client and things like that, which was a challenge at the start of the year. I won't lie, I struggled with it a little bit to get it. I can't have to use like Boost approved music and things like that, and to go from Wilson Security, who had literally I could put like Happy Birthday as the soundtrack and they'd be okay with it, whereas now, like, if I don't do the right song, like Boost will call up and tell me to take it down and things like that. So it's made me be a lot more cautious and careful and realise like the corporate side of what I do more than just, well, it is like, it's big money. Supercars is big money and it's big stakes too. So I have to be a lot more cautious, and I've had to refine a lot of what I do, which is really cool.
And have you found that you've been able to utilise a lot of your supercar work for your uni work?
They actually don't really cross over as much as you think. I did a documentary unit at uni last year, and I did a Gary Rogers motorsport documentary. So we did the Volvo to Holden whole thing, and that was awesome. Like, got a really good result on it in uni, and people loved it. Like, they absolutely loved it on social media. So that was kind of a crossover that I wouldn't have been able to do. Everyone else in my uni unit was doing it on like family members, and then when I got up and pitched it, like everyone else was like 60% approval rate, and then everyone was like, and then my idea got 95% approval because it was different.
Yeah.
And not many people have like an in to motorsport, and GRM were happy because it was all like, they didn't have to pay anything because it was through uni, so there was no like profitability or anything like that. So they got some free content, a really cool documentary made, and I got a really good mark on my uni assignments. So it was kind of a win-win.
Win-win all around.
My favourite kind.
And so Tenayah, so someone who's starting out in racing and may not be able to afford a videographer, what are some recommendations you have about them getting started about filming?
Honestly, the first step is to just make content. Doesn't matter what it is. Honestly, you could film yourself just about to go out for, I don't know, what category in karting, Formula Ford, whatever the starting pre-production, I don't know what people start in these days. So just, if you're young, get your parents onto it. People underestimate the power of a brand. So I have friends who are my age who are trying to make it like to the next step, like in Super 3 or below, and Formula Ford and things like that. And all I tell them, I'm like, just build your brand, like make yourself marketable. That's honestly all it is. If you can offer value to sponsors will come to you. Like, everyone talks about how hard it is to find sponsors, and they have 40 likes on their Facebook page and haven't posted in 3 years. And you're like, well, why would someone sponsor you when they can go sponsor old Jack over here who's spent 2 years building their profile, makes a post a couple of times a week, has 4,000 or 5,000 followers, and actually has an audience to post to. So it's all about, I would say, making yourself different from your competitors. If you can have a social media presence and that sponsor goes, oh, hey, we can reach this audience by sponsoring this person, then you provide the value to a sponsor. So honestly, I think that's all it is. You start by making content. Use your iPhone, use your Samsung, whatever you got. Use your mum's camcorder from 2003. It still works the same as anything that I could do for you. So, yeah, just take a photo, put it on your Instagram, put it on your Facebook, have a YouTube channel if you're into the creative side of things. It's all about being different and standing out to get the sponsor's attention. So that's all it's really about, I guess, from my perspective.
And do you think today they need to have it really professional, like branded with their logos, having captions along the bottom of the videos? For an athlete just starting out, what do you think are the most important parts for them to concentrate on?
I think a logo is super important. Even if you don't have to pay a graphic designer $1,000 to make your logo. You can do it yourself. There's Wix logos makers. There's
Canva.
You can do whatever you want. It's just the point of making the effort to have that thing. And then all you do, I don't have a thing of it, but my old logo I made on Photoshop. No, thought I had a sticker of it. It was shocking, absolutely shocking. And then it was only last year that I rebranded to this logo, which is just so much more smoother, and it just looks better. Actually, I have it here. You probably cut this out, but this was my old logo.
Oh yeah,
that was that, and I made that myself back in 2014. And then you compare it.
Yeah.
I think I know which one looks a little bit more professional and sleek, and that was just an involvement in my business. So you can start out, you can just have your initials or your name and your number or whatever you think, and I don't know, it just sets you apart again. That's what it's all about, is being different from the people that you're competing with. So motorsport's competitive, it's a competitive sport, so to stand out you've got to do stuff that other people aren't doing, really, and have a logo. And then if you're doing video content, I'd keep the caption minimal. Make sure that your video does the speaking. So if you're doing a talking video, if it's selfie mode, whatever you reckon, give your audience a reason to watch the video. Don't explain in the caption, because you kind of defeating the purpose. If you're like, today I got first in my race in the caption, and then in the video you're like, today I got first in my race. They don't really have to watch the video, do they? So yeah, just be careful about it. I don't know. You can always talk to people about me. I'm not going to charge you to talk to me. I'll always help, and I'm thinking about putting out some resources to help people. So just very beginner things like that. So
well, can you recommend any free or cheap apps that are available on Android or iOS that people can use to develop their videos?
Well, if you have a Mac computer, you get iMovie pre-installed on that. And then I think on Windows, it's Windows Movie Maker. And then I don't use any iOS apps, but I know iMovie comes on that, and that's just a standard feature that will kind of work across, and it does a job sort of thing. So I'm sure there's lots. I used to use someone years ago. I'm not sure. I pay like $800 a year to have the best industry stuff. So, I mean, I don't really, not sure what you could use. Be a simple search in an app store of video editor or video creator. That's all it would be to find. Just look at the reviews and see what people say, make sure it doesn't crash and does a job. That's pretty much all it is.
And so today, if mum and dad are really busy and they don't have time to take on yet another role, they're probably busy running a business.
Yeah, definitely.
Kids. What kind of other services do you provide at McLeod Media?
So at McLeod Media, we're kind of pretty niche on the motorsport thing. I'm trying to expand out, but motorsport takes up a lot of my weekends. When if I get booked for a wedding, I'm just like, sorry, I'm at Bathurst, or sorry, I'm at Gold Coast, sorry, I'm at Adelaide. And then so kind of takes up majority of your life. But I offer videography. So that's from daily 30-second videos. So I make daily videos for some clients, and then I do 1 minute, 2 minute, or 3 minute weekend video wraps. So also there's the social media management side of things, which is all about growing your brand, which involves, so the social media package that I offer involves video and photo content. But then also just the management side of things would also be something that it's just having someone who, not going to toot my own horn here, but having someone who knows about the platforms and how to best utilize them. I'm 20, so I'm at the right age to kind of grew up with the social media side of things, which is
awesome,
good for me, for my job. And then sponsorship proposals is how I started out with Mark Winterbottom. We used to do coverage reports and social media proposals to send, and got quite a few clients through that. So Air Clean, who I did a corporate project for at the start last year and this year, I actually helped to get that sponsor. So that was really cool to start the relationship from day dot, and then be able to follow it through with a different aspect. So yeah, I try not to offer too much, because I want to be able to be good at everything I offer. But then it's kind of ended up that I kind of offer a lot of stuff, like not meaning to, sort of thing. But
yeah, are you branching out to other categories? Like you're saying, obviously Supercars are your main, and that's pretty much your 15 weekends a year. Do you enjoy your weekends off, or are you looking to expand into the support categories?
Well, kind of just depends. Most of the categories have videographers. I actually shot for Formula Ford at the Bend a few weekends ago, which come from, so they already have a videographer, but he was busy. So then he called me up and I got to go and work for that category, which was cool, which was not on a Supercars weekend. So it's cool to do some stuff that doesn't, because I can't take any more on like at Supercars at this point in time. It's just flat out. And then the Shannon's Nationals, I'm an accredited videographer and photographer for Shannon's Nationals. So when I can pull together some clients that makes it worthwhile for me to travel to the events, then I go. I went to Phillip Island for the second round, but didn't go to the Bend this weekend because it was just worthwhile sort of thing. You got to make sure that it's worthwhile for your time, and didn't really pull anything together to cover accommodation and travel and things like that. So just got to justify when something's worth doing for your time and when it's not. So.
And with your services, so saying for a videographer, does someone employ you for the weekend or like for a practice session, or is it a matter of someone getting four drivers all together in order to pay for your accommodation and airfare there?
Well, so luckily with Supercars, I do GRM's content and it's subsidised through that. So I have like in my little contract thing that I offer, it's got like down in the terms and conditions that on the events that it runs with Supercars, there's not really any extra thing. But then if it's, say, a Shannon's Nationals, I'll split my costs across the clients that I'm working for to make it worthwhile, because obviously I can't pay for myself because I'd be using the money that I've been earning and basically working for free. So if I'm offering a service to somebody, then we usually try and get a few together so it subsidises the costs and things like that. And luckily I live in Melbourne that there's so many tracks around here that I can just stay at home. Like Sandown, Phillip Island, Winton, like all these places I can do a day trip or things like that, which is really lucky. And there's so many tracks around here, which is really cool.
Awesome. Have you been to any of the kart tracks?
I have. I worked at the AKC for Todd Road.
Yep.
Not too long ago, and I worked at where was it? Out west, Gippsland. Is that west? I went to a kart day to a track. No, Morwell. I went to Morwell track to film for a client who he's only 12, 13, and he's already getting his video content sorted. That come from his dad. Really focused on his brand, and he's doing some really cool stuff in the AKC and stuff like that. So never too early to start building a brand and things like that, especially I would say the ideal age is when you're actually starting to look for sponsors. Like at the younger age, your parents kind of, it's no secret that your parents kind of cover everything. But when you get to the 14, the 15, the 16, when it starts to get really serious, and if you're passionate about following it, that's when it kind of gets important to bring sponsors on board. And the easiest way to bring a sponsor on board is to provide them value. So let's keep coming back to value. And I honestly reckon that having a brand is the secret sauce to success in motorsport, definitely in Australia. So
you're echoing my words, Tenayah. I love what you're saying.
Good brand, it's all it is.
It is. We talk very much about building a brand. And for anyone that doesn't know, we do have a closed motorsport sponsorship Facebook page. So just search it in Facebook for motorsport sponsorship, and we go through all about branding and how to get started. There's lots of free tips and tools in there. Now, because you did say you are 20 and you said that Facebook or social media is your thing today, I'm going to throw away some social media questions here for you.
Right, let's see how we go.
What is your preferred platform for building a brand?
I think they all have their place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that they all have their place. Facebook is for your long form press releases and things like that. So a website and Facebook, press releases and photography, I'd say. Then Instagram is your real cool artistic kind of want to build influence and things like that on Instagram. And then if you're really into it, YouTube is where longer form content goes, but a website's important for press releases because press releases are how people learn stuff and things like that. And recently, Madeline Stewart, she recently moved up from karts to Super 3 and her press release, and was talking to her parents and they weren't sure if she needed a website. And I was like, at this stage in her career, she needs a website. And that's definitely something that people are like, it's so outdated these days, which you're kind of right. You're kind of right in terms that people don't really go to websites. You don't search into Google and go to a website. You go to a website through a link, which you get through a Facebook page or through an Instagram bio or something like that. And it's just having that solid platform that isn't social media. It's like a solid place where you can put your bio and you can put your contactable information and you put your archival stuff. So stuff from years ago you put there, and it provides context, and it provides it gives sponsors pretty much everything they need to know. So definitely need a website, definitely need Instagram, definitely need Facebook, definitely need you don't need a YouTube channel. That's kind of beating a dead horse, but it's a platform.
Yeah, it's a preferred platform.
It's the more you have, the more you. But the thing is, it's so time consuming. Like, I manage my own social media and try and build my own brand, and then I manage socials for a lot of people that I work for, just like support category people, and then I do Mark's social as well, which is huge. That's such a big thing because it has such a big following, and just interacting with everyone on that is time consuming in itself, sort of thing.
And so next question today, do you recommend they put the same content across all the platforms if they are have multiple platform usage? So
ideally you can use the same content but specialize it to each platform. So for Instagram, ideally you should be using a 4:5 crop on your photos, which is either landscape or portrait. In that way, it kind of takes up more real estate on someone's page, which is the aim of the game. So to get someone's attention, you make it be in front of their face for longer, and by doing that, you use like aspect ratios and things like that. I crop all my videos for GRM to a 4:5 ratio, which means it sits, rather than like your typical 16:9 landscape screen, it sits portrait, and just pretty much on a phone, it takes up 90% of your real estate on your phone. So you're much more inclined to watch it. I know personally that I watch videos that are portrait a lot more than I do landscape now. It's kind of the way of the future, I'd say. And then for Facebook, you can run like the landscape, things like that. So it's really just about, to make it different, you have to like personalize it. Just for example, for Madeline's videos, I make her a 2-minute video on each Super 3 weekend, and that's for Instagram. That's a 2-minute flat video, and it's cropped like that. And then for Instagram, I cut it at the 1 minute mark, and then she has 1 minute, and then people that are watching it have to swipe across, then they watch the next minute. So that's a way of like making something fit for the platform and really getting the most out of each platform without having to make separate content, sort of thing.
Awesome advice. Thanks for that. And last question, how many posts a week do you recommend someone starting out with building their brand? Should they be posting with a mix of both posts, photos and videos?
It's really hard, but content is king overall. They always say content. But it's also got to mean something. So there's got to be a balance between making stuff and posting it for a reason, and then posting it just because you think you should post. So I would say I try and post 3 or 4 times a week on my own personal brand. I tell my clients that they should be posting 3 or 4, 5 times a week. On Instagram, utilize your stories. Stories you can post pretty much as you want, pretty much, and then you can share them across to your Facebook page's stories as well. So stories are the place that people go when they want to know about your daily life, and then your profile should be more about the milestones and achievements and big things that are coming up. So it's really hard to blanketly give a statement about how many times you should post a week, but I would say keep it in the 3 to 4 a week range. If you have the content, post every day. But I mean, if you're willing to make it, you put in the effort to make decent content that's going to show off your best skills as an athlete or things like that, post it. It's only going to help you.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're posting a photo of your breakfast because you need to post, then, keep that for your personal page and then separate your athlete persona or your brand from that, I would say.
Tenayah, thank you so much for all your information today. I do feel like we could speak for about another half an hour quite easily.
Definitely, yeah.
Minutes, and so I still want to know about videos and photos, but to finish it off, what is your favourite racetrack?
Oh, I got asked this in one of my vlogs the other day. I don't want to be that person that says Bathurst.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going to be that person that says Bathurst because, man, that place is so special, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other than Bathurst, oh, man, I love going to Darwin and Townsville. That's probably more the atmosphere than the racetrack.
Yeah.
Really cool events up there. But a racetrack, for the pure fact that it's a racetrack, it's got to be Bathurst. It just doesn't get any better, does it?
Wow. It is winning. It is this is episode 45 or 44, and I'd have to say that I think 40 times we've had that.
Yeah.
So it's got good odds.
Oh, yes, it's such a wonderful place. You roll up there on the Tuesday before Bathurst, and the race is until Sunday, and you're like, I'm so excited. Can I walk the track yet? And it's just like, what is wrong with me?
No. It's one of those.
It's a cool place. You ask anyone in the industry and 9 times out of 10 they're going to say it's Bathurst. And you don't want to be that person. It happens so often that you're like, I don't want to be that person, but it is.
Now, Tenayah, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, if I haven't bored you in this chat already, you can find me. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under McLeod Media, or website is www.themcleodmedia.com, and that's where I put a lot of my services and prices and all that fun stuff. But the main place that I post is Facebook and Instagram, so you can hit me up with a DM or a message there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You're so cool. All of Tenayah's links will be in today's show notes. So again, thank you so much for that wealth of knowledge. I love your story. I can't wait. What is next? Is there better plans with McLeod?
Next is
Supercar. We're going to fly. What are we doing?
It's trying to finish university without exploding.
Yep.
So I'm in the final unit, so it's literally like the hardest point of the degree. And just this year I'm committed to the rest of the Supercars rounds, so we'll do what are we at? I think we're at round 7,
halfway.
Round 8, round 9, one of those rounds. So we've got like 6 or 7 rounds left.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and keep making content that makes people want to pay me and keep paying my rent and I don't know.
Keep living life.
Keep living life. That's all that's going on at the minute. And next year we'll see where we end up, see what happens. Hopefully, I'd say I'd take on more clients at Supercars, but I'm kind of stumped. Hopefully take on maybe another category. So I'd like to get more involved in Shannon's Nationals and TCR and things like that. But again, it's got to be worthwhile for the time and effort that you put in. So we'll see what comes together, I guess.
Well, Tenayah, I think you're going to have a wonderful future, whether it's in motorsports or outside of motorsports in videography. I wish you all the very best. I'm going to be following your journey on Instagram, as you know, and so I'll look forward to see where it takes you.
Awesome. Thanks for the chat. It was really cool. Hopefully that I've given the listeners just a little bit of value, hopefully.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to Tea. Until next time, take care.